So the video we're doing today is we're going to look at classes again, maybe a few more parts. I'm not really quite sure yet because we haven't discussed things like what an abstract method is, or sealed classes and so on. But let's start with the good, the bad and the ugly, or maybe another title might be when is private not so private and how can private be made private. So let's have a look at, we're going to go back to the demo program sort of from yesterday. However, I've called it, this is class demo 3, uses the same animal class from the previous examples, and all I've really done is, for the sake of this demonstration here, is to add in a couple of fields. One is private and one is protected. And maybe before I do go on a bit further, I had a couple of problems yesterday with my key bindings, only insofar as I was trying to use the plus sign on the numeric keypad, and it wanted me to have to double press it for some reason to get it to go once. But now I got it so that I'm using the equal sign now, so I can easily go make this bigger for you to be able to see, which is what my intention is, to make my life easy as possible so that you can see the code and know what I'm doing here. So I can go the minus sign to make it smaller, and I've now got that to make it grow larger. So anyway, we do have the private and protected members here, and I've added a couple of read-only properties, and in the constructor here, pretty standard stuff. So far so good. However, you'll also note that I've got, f counter, like I said, this is a private counter. In fact, let's call this a private counter, P-R-I-V-A. Private counter, and we will now go to, let's go to there and to there, and I won't touch that one yet. And now we'll go to, what is Lazarus now doing? There we go, and there, and we're going to have a problem here. So I can tell you because I've renamed something, and we'll just see where the errors are. And here you can, well, actually let's change that one right now, and we'll build it again. We're just going to keep on doing this step until we get it working. The program actually builds, or get it as far as building as we can. So this worked. So what have we done here? I've got a random animal, and inside the constructor of the random animal, it's using a private counter. And I'd previously said that something which is declared in the private section is private. Well, that ain't quite the case. Now the main reason for that is because this particular class is in the same unit as the animal itself, whereas if I go over here and I try to make that one there. So I've got a private animal here. We'll make this one here a bit bigger so you can see it more easily. And over in here I've got the private counter. So this particular animal here, it also derives from animal. It has a constructor, and it also tries to modify the private counter. And when we build it here, I'm going to get an error saying, nah, can't do that. But I can access the protected member. So let's go back over here, and if we want to stop a user from well, actually we're going to go one step further. Actually, I'm going to show you what the output of this program here is. So let's just build this again so it now runs, so it's runnable. and I got CD. Here you can see that the counter was 4, it changes to 10, and the counter is now 3. So what I've done is I have created the animal, I output the counter. The counter was from the where did it get that number? Where did it get that number 4 from? Here we go, because I'm creating a random animal here, and the random animal sets a counter to 4, and then I'm going to call this function here, and this function here will do something with the animal, and then we'll output both the counter and the size. So in here then I have the animal being passed in to this seems wrong, and here I'm also modifying the private counter and the size. And for some reason this function here is able to do something with the private field value. Why? Again, because it's in the same unit as the class that is declared and implemented. Up here is how it's defined, down here is how it's implemented underneath there. So what do we do, or how can we then make that private really private, which is what which is how you'd think private might work? So we need to use the strict str. We need to use the strict keyword here. So now when we try to build the program, we're going to get a couple of problems here. Firstly, we can no longer access that field from within a function or procedure in the same class. So we're just going to comment that one out for the moment. Now let's see how much further we can take it. So we'll just save our work, and we now find that also the private field cannot be accessed anymore by a class which inherits from the animal which contains a private field. So we now have to take that out. Now let's see what else. Now let's keep going now. And now we've got a program that now builds, and now we can see 0, 0 and 3, and the size was 3. Why is the size 3? Because of the we were able to modify the size field, which is protected in the derived animal class, which happened to be a random animal. So what can we do here? Well, actually no, that was the animal because it has the size there. So now let's make the protected member strict also. The idea behind protected is that it can be accessed only by a derived class. And now we get an error, or a compile time error here, indicates that we cannot access the protected member now, and we'll comment that one out there. We're going to build it again, see if there's any other places here where it's gone wrong. No, it's built okay, and now it's all zeros. That doesn't mean that it's working, but what it's showing you is that by using the strict modifier or the strict keyword, you have greater control over what derived classes can do within your own class, more so if things are put into the same unit. So again, it gives you more control over what a programmer can do. And also, just as an aside, you might have thought that while I'm passing this as a const, all that means is I'm passing a reference to the animal, nothing more than that, and I can't change the animal being returned, but I can modify what's inside of it. So that's about it for this video here. So a couple more things to be aware of when you are writing your Object Pascal code. This applies in both Delphi and in Free Pascal, and gives you greater control over what other programmers can do with your code. So keep that in mind when you are doing your coding. Until then, happy coding. Bye.